There is a growing number of believers who see exactly what is happening in the world. They see the systems tightening, they see the culture shifting, they see the values they built their lives around being dismantled piece by piece. And most of them are doing one of two things. They are running or they are fighting. They are stockpiling, protesting, posting, raging, arguing online with people who will never change their minds, pouring their energy into battles that drain them dry and produce nothing lasting. And here is the hard truth that this video is going to deliver. Neither of those responses is the one God is calling the remnant to. Running will not protect what matters most, and fighting the system only feeds it. The remnant's call is something else entirely. The remnant is called to build. Stay with this video. Because by the end, you will understand why the builders will outlast everyone who is fighting and everyone who is fleeing. You will see what it means to be remnant, and you will see what remnant people are actually doing right now to create something that the world cannot touch. If this channel is new to you, subscribe now. This is Christian Villages, and this is what we are here to build together. Look at where the energy of the awake, aware Christian is going right now. Into court cases, into political campaigns, into social media arguments, into news cycles that never end and never resolve, into freedom movements, into boycotts, into protests, into everything except into building something that will still be standing when all of those battles are over. And understand this, the battles themselves are real. The things that are happening in the world are real. This is not a call to ignorance or passivity, but there is a principle that most warriors refuse to accept until it is too late. What you fight against, you empower. Resistance feeds the thing it is resisting. You cannot cancel something you are obsessed with. You cannot defeat a system you are still submitted to. Here is what Babylon does better than almost anything else. It makes the fight feel like the mission. It keeps believers busy, exhausted, and outraged, pouring everything they have into battles that were never meant to be theirs to fight. And while they are fighting, they are not building. While they are in court, they are not on the land. While they are arguing online, they are not raising children in a kingdom culture. While they are raging at what is being torn down, the thing they were called to build is still not built. And here's the cost that almost no one talks about. A generation of children is watching their parents fight the system. And children do not do what they are told. They do what they see. If all they see is a parent at war with the world, they will inherit that war. But if they see a parent building something, they will inherit the build. You can battle or you can build. You cannot do both. And even if you win a battle, the time you spent fighting is time you did not spend building. And if you spent all your time fighting and never built anything, then when the battle is over, there is still no place to go. The remnant is not called to defeat Babylon. Babylon is going to fall on its own. Revelation already wrote that ending. The remnant is called to have something ready when it does. Before we talk about what the remnant is building, we need to clarify who the remnant actually is. Because there is a version of remnant theology that is about being special, about being the ones who figured it out, about being the elect few who saw what everyone else missed. That version produces pride, not purpose. Separation, not mission. That is not the remnant. The remnant is not the perfect, not the religious elite. The remnant are the ones who respond when God whispers. They are the ones whose spirit cracks open when truth hits their chest. They are the ones who refuse to sleepwalk through the life God gave them. They are the ones whose hunger speaks louder than their fear. The remnant are not people who ran from Babylon. They are people who stopped being built by it. There is a difference. Running is still a reaction to Babylon. It means Babylon is still setting the terms, still defining the direction, still calling the shots. True departure is not geographic, it is identity. You do not escape Babylon by moving locations. You escape Babylon by relocating your identity, by deciding that your value no longer comes from the system. Your security no longer comes from the system. Your children's future no longer depends on the system. The remnant are builders because builders are the only people who are not defined by what they are against. A builder is defined by what they are for covenant, for community, for a kingdom life that is visible, tangible, and real. The remnant do not need Babylon to fall to have a reason to build. They build because they are called. They build because there are children who need a culture to be born into. They build because the world is starving for a different way to be human. And if the remnant does not build it, no one will. So what does building look like? Not in theory, not as a concept, on the ground, in the real world, right now. This is where a lot of people get vague, because building sounds inspiring until you try to explain exactly what is being built. So let's be specific. A Christian village is not a compound. It is not a commune. It is not a group of people hiding from the world behind a fence. Jesus did not say, hide your light under a bushel. He said, you are a city on a hill. A city is not hidden. A city is visible from miles away. A city has walls for protection, yes, but it also has gates. Gates that open to the weary, to the searching, to the families the world has chewed up and spit out. A functioning Christian village is a harbor. When the systems of the world sputter and fail, people do not go looking for a better app or a better politician. They go looking for food, for safety, for family, for people whose lights are still on. Will that place exist? Will it be ready? That depends entirely on whether the remnant builds it now while there is still time. A village is where a mechanic fixes a single mother's car with no bill because she is family. A village is where meals appear for a family with a newborn without anyone organizing a sign-up sheet. A village is where teenagers are mentored by men who are not their fathers, but are committed to them like sons in the faith. A village is where children grow up knowing exactly who they are, because they are surrounded by people who reflect it back to them every single day. That is the legacy the remnant is being called to build. Not a name on a building, not a balance in an account, a culture. A way of life that outlives you and reproduces itself in the generations that come after you. That culture is the most powerful argument for the gospel that exists. Not a sermon, a life, lived together, and the world is waiting to see it. The remnant is not running. The remnant is not fighting. The remnant is building. And Christian Villages exists for the ones who are ready to be part of that build. Not as observers, not as consumers of content about community, but as actual builders. People willing to do the hard, slow, covenant work of creating a life that looks nothing like the one Babylon designed for them. If that is you, you are in the right place. Subscribe now so you do not miss what comes next on this channel, and go to christianvillages.com today. The path forward is there, the people are already gathering, and the build has already begun. The world does not need more people commenting on what is falling apart. It needs more people building what comes next. Remember, who you are makes a difference.